Hi, welcome back to another episode of Modern Streams, the weekly music marketing podcast that will teach you how to get, you guessed it, modern streams. Today I have Jason with me, the founder of SubmitHub, the biggest and most trusted playlist and blog submission platform in the industry. I've been on both sides of SubmitHub. As a musician, I got my first streams from playlists on the platform back in 2019. As a curator, I've reviewed over 33,000 songs, so I'm really excited for this conversation. If you're a musician who wants to learn how to get your music on playlists and use them to grow your career beyond just streams, this episode is for you. Jason, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the fantastic introduction.
Glad you like it, Jason. And let's get started. I want to start with the first question for those who don't know your story. How did you start one of the biggest music platforms in the world?
Okay, so it was a little bit of an organic progression, but when I was in high school and university, I downloaded a lot of music on torrents, and I wanted to share that with the world. So I started a music blog in 2007 called Indie Shuffle, or was it 2008? Oh, somewhere along that. And I was sharing these MP3s everywhere, and the music blog started to take off, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And by 2013, I was able to quit my day job, which was a really nice day job. I was working for Google, and I was able to take a music blog full time. That was my full-time living. So I packed up my bags, I left San Francisco, I moved to Amsterdam. I spent a month just getting super stoned with no responsibilities, blogging about music. And it was the best life ever for someone in their mid-20s. Now, music blogs were kingmakers and queen makers at the time. If you were a musician, getting into multiple music blogs was your ticket to getting attention and ultimately some success. And many of the household names that we know today actually got their start through music blogs. The Weeknd, not Lady Gaga, she's too big. Lana Del Rey, though, for sure. Kid Cudi, Chance the Rapper. So many of these guys were playing this blog game and hiring publicists and doing all these pitches. And what that meant was that for us as bloggers, we were super in demand, which was rad. I could go to any music festival or any show. I'd send an email, hey, it's Jason from Indie Shuffle, can I come? And they'd be like, great, how many backstage passes do you want? So it was a really awesome 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 year patch. But one of the downsides was that the cat was out of the bag in the music industry. If you wanted to publicize your music and promote it and gain attention, music blogs were the way to go. And so pretty soon, people started to circulate these spreadsheets with all of our email addresses on it. And by 2014 and 2015, I was getting 300 emails a day, and they weren't well targeted. So they were spammy. I'd be getting heavy metal songs and rap songs, and the blog is called Indie Shuffle. We're not covering that stuff. And what it meant was that for almost all of us music bloggers, we just started to ignore our music submissions. And as an artist, there was no real way to contact us. You'd have to hire a publicist who had our number, who'd given us tickets in the past, who we sort of owed a favor back to. And that was your only way through. And you'd have to shell out thousands of dollars for that. So long story short, Indie Shuffle's revenue stream started to dry up in 2014 and 2015. And this was due to broader changes in the internet market, Facebook coming up, display advertising dying, Spotify being introduced to the world. And so I needed to look for a different way to spend my time and make money. So I started to make music blogs for other companies. I'd start coding their things and be like, I know how to do this. So I had a couple freelance projects. And on the side, I thought, I'm getting 300 emails a day. That's 300 people who want to contact me. There's got to be a better way to deal with this. And so that's how SubmitHub was born. The idea was it was a really simple platform where people could fill in the artist, the song title, and a link to the song, and it would all come through to me in a nicely filtered feed. And I sent out some emails to all the other music bloggers that I knew, and within the first week, I had about 20 of them signed up. I think by week 2, we had 1,000 submissions. Things just took off immensely fast, and that's because it was a very specific niche, a very specific problem, but one that was quite big and that people were looking for a solution. So yeah, SubmitHub launched in late 2015 as a way for blogs to filter their music submissions, and it changed things very quickly. It meant that artists could contact Indie Shuffle, The Music Ninja, Earmilk, We All Want Summer to Shuffle, all these really cool hype machine blogs. And yeah, it took off by 2015. By early 2016, it was already my full-time job. Like Indie Shuffle had already taken a back seat, and this was just accelerating so quickly. Yeah, 10 years later, it's changed. I mean, back then, this is something I was having a little epiphany about, but back in 2015, we were trying to solve a problem for music blogs. They had so many submissions, they wanted to filter them down. Today, it's the other way around. Without SubmitHub, let's put it differently. So many playlisters rely on SubmitHub for their revenue and their stream of submissions. And so when we started SubmitHub, the idea was that we were helping people with their submissions and dealing with too many. And now everyone's kind of relying on us to give them submissions. So it has become a bit of a stressful thing. You have probably observed some of this in the chat rooms on SubmitHub. But a lot of curators rely on SubmitHub for a significant part of their job and their income. And we could touch on that later, but that's the brief history of how SubmitHub came to be.
And so you mentioned that it started with blogs, but when exactly did Spotify playlist actually started like being a dominant part of the platform?
Yeah, so in a way, I'm a little bit like Mark Zuckerberg. We're both Jewish. No, I think it ends there. The thing with Spotify playlists is that they were already quite big before we added them. And the reason I added them was because more and more people were asking me, hey, how do I submit to Spotify playlists? And I was going, I don't know, I do blogs. Like Spotify playlists aren't really a thing. If you want to get your music out there, you should contact blogs. And they'd be like, well, actually, but don't you know how I can contact this playlister? And so in 2017, I think it was, this was 2 years into SubmitHub, I finally decided to add a Spotify playlist component. And I made some big mistakes early on. For example, Spotify's API gives you pretty limited information about each playlist. They tell you how many followers a playlist has. They don't give you historical numbers. They don't show you what it was 2 months ago. They don't show you what it was a year ago. They just give you a snapshot of today. This is how many followers they have. That's it. They don't give you listeners. They don't give you growth charts. They don't give you anything. And so I was working with this information, and I was like, cool. Well, I guess we'll just work with followers. That's the number. So I started to put up all these SubmitHub playlists based on their followers, and be like, wow, submit to these guys. They've got 100,000 followers. And some dude named Ari Herstand wrote this scathing blog post about how SubmitHub was basically scamming people and setting them up for a bad experience because we were busy showcasing follower numbers when in fact you'd get into these playlists and have absolutely no listeners.
Yeah, it means nothing.
Yeah, and so it was a bit of a wake-up call. I had to panic and be like, well, but hold on, how do I get listeners? Like, what am I supposed to do? And that got me on the journey of collecting that data, and I came up with all sorts of creative ways to do it, and it's evolved over time. Today, most of that information, 99% of it's coming from Spotify for artists. But yeah, that was a very early mistake that we made, was connecting people with dead playlists. And today, we don't. And I think actually a lot of the other platforms rely on SubmitHub's data to make their decisions about who they should let join.
They do. Wow. Yeah, that's actually that's related to my next question, which is about other platforms. Yeah, because the thing about SubmitHub is that I think it's the most transparent platform amongst all of them. I am currently a curator on over 10 different platforms, so I really know what it's like on the inside, which is also why I always recommend musicians to use SubmitHub, because I feel like it's very transparent. And I'm wondering, what do you think makes SubmitHub really different compared to all of the other competitors?
I think my first advantage was that I was a blogger. So I wasn't just trying to copy a business model. I was trying to solve a problem for the people who were using it on that side. over the years, I've learned it's very important to balance the interests of bloggers, or let's call them curators today, and artists. And trying to find a balance between the interests of both has been something that I've been quite focused on for the last 8 years, I would say. I think one of the things that makes us quite different is that I am the only developer, and like my fingers are just in everything. So I'm constantly involved in all the processes going on. I'm responding to customer support tickets. I'm dealing with bad behavior. I am constantly talking to artists on Reddit, and I'm in the mess of it. And because I'm also the guy who can code everything, it's quite easy for me to quickly fix problems, but also identify opportunities for new features or growth or that kind of things. So one of my competitors has a team of 6 full-time developers and 2 product managers. And to my knowledge, they haven't really rolled out a new feature in about 3 years. And I think part of that is because the team is so big, they have to sit down, discuss what they're going to do, sketch it all out, go back to the drawing board, get sign-off from this guy, do it. And they're also not actually the customer support team, and they're not an artist, and they're not a curator, so they don't really understand what they're building. So I think ultimately a lot of the advantage that SubmitHub has is in my ability. Gosh, this is like such a humble brag. I'm bragging.
No, but it's true,
really,
because
being like close to the ground means I can do it.
Yeah.
I know what needs to be fixed.
Yeah, and especially since you said you're like a blogger yourself, so you came from the bottom, like you were a blogger, you created a platform to support other bloggers, so you know what it's like. You really care about musicians. You're very active to listen to what musicians want, what other curators want, and you fix it immediately, which is really important. And that's something, that's definitely a big edge that SubmitHub has.
For 10 years in a row now, yeah. And so then all the other guys are just copying. They're like, oh, copy. There are some other interesting ideas that a few people are trying and experimenting with, but it's kind of that first mover advantage. It helps a lot to be quick.
It does. And basically after 10 years of doing this, you have seen pretty much every mistake an artist can make when submitting music. So what do you think is the biggest mistake artists make when submitting to playlists? Is it bad music, bad pitches, wrong playlists, or something else?
You know, it's harder and harder to make bad music. There are so many tools out there to help you improve your music and get it ready. As a curator, I would say 95% or more of the songs I receive are fine. They're not bad. They're not like someone held up an iPhone and like played a guitar into it. They're all pretty good. So I would dismiss like bad music. That's not really the problem. I think the mistake that a lot of people make, and we see this a lot more today with the AI, what should we call them? AI musicians. When you first encounter the music industry, you work hard on the song, you develop it, you put your love into it, your heart, your lyrics, whatever prompt you had to type in, like it's emotional and you have a connection to that song. You put it out onto the internet and you're expecting other people to connect with you. Of course they would, right? And they don't. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that new artists make is that they jump into it expecting things to go really well. And they'll send it off to a bunch of people without really testing the waters first. And then when that rejection comes back, it hits them like a truck. Because as I said, they put their heart into this genuinely. Like they think it's a good song. They might be right for all we know. But just dealing with that rejection can be really difficult. So typically I recommend that if you're a musician and you want to dive into SubmitHub, you start with a smaller budget, 20 credits, 30 credits, target 5, 10, 15 curators tops. Stick to your genre. That's one of the most important things, and it's one of the reasons that I developed the genre detector, was to try and help artists get into the right spot for their genre. Because once you've got that right, then you can filter it down to curators. And don't go for the shiny, really cool, highly engaged curators. Go for the easier ones up front, especially when you're just beginning. You're just testing the water. Is this song going to work? I don't know. Let's send it to 10 curators who typically approve 30 or 40% of their music. If they all say no, maybe this isn't the right approach for me. If they do say yes, then you can come in with a bit more. But I think one of the bigger mistakes, to sum it all up, is when an artist comes along and spends 100 credits or 200 credits to push a song for the first time. They get the genre wrong. They target all the difficult, shiny curators because they looked amazing. And they end up having a bad experience there.
So it's mainly not about the pitches, not about the genre selection.
Genre selection is very important. I tried to hit that. I tried to hit that. Yeah, you have to get your genre selection right. But I think the bigger problem is going too big too quickly without fully understanding the system.
Okay. And do you think that your tool to basically you have the feature that tells the artist what's their genre? So would you say it's 100% accurate?
No. Very few songs these days are purely one genre. They're typically a blend of different styles. And so what you'll see with the genre detector is that it will come back with the top 5 genres and sort of give them each a rank in terms of what presence it has detected that genre. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at 5-second chunks from 10 different spots in that song. And then I'm averaging that out because songs change over time and do different things. So I'm not looking at like the whole song. That would be pretty hard on the machine learning. That would be a lot heavier and slower. So I take these little chunks, average it all out, and I said, this is what your style and genre sort of fits into. Is it 100% accurate? No, but I do actually use it behind the scenes to prevent people from genre spamming. So you've probably been genre spammed before, but this someone tries to get past your genre filters by submitting a song that is obviously not your genre. So someone really wants to send you a rap song, but you don't feature rap. They tag it as chillwave, and they sneak it through to you. That's annoying. So I actually use the genre detector behind the scenes to prevent that from happening. So that's actually one. Like at the end of the day, a lot of these features that I've built and the things that I'm doing are trying to make sure that the right artists connect with the right curators. Because I want curators to get music that they like and that they want. And I want artists to be able to reach the right curators who will be receptive to their music.
Right. So basically, let's say I'm a rap artist and it's my first song and I don't really know what's my genre. And then actually I use your tool, which is not 100% correct, and it connects me with the wrong curators. So are there other ways for musicians to find what's their genre that you would recommend them?
You can ask peers. You can also use, some musicians go through the process of using Hot or Not, which is a feature we have on our site that allows peer reviews from other artists. And what you can do is tag your song with 5 different genres that you think it might be appropriate for, and then see which ones come through as the better results. So Hot or Not will actually break down performance by genre. It can help a bit. I don't want to misconstrue this. You asked, is the genre detector 100% accurate? It's not. But it's pretty darn good. And we're not going to tag a rap song as chillwave. So if you submit a rap song, the genre detector is still going to pick up that it is within the hip-hop family, and it's going to recommend some genres from that. But it's quite difficult, dare I say impossible, to get a completely wrong result when you're testing a song. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to put a folk song in there and get EDM as the response. It won't happen.
Right. So it's very useful, but artists should still know their genre. It's a mistake musicians make when they rely entirely on this tool, I feel like, because I do talk with musicians and I do feel like they don't like SubmitHub. I mean, the main reason what they say about SubmitHub is the fact that they got the client from all of the curators. And many times as a curator, I see that the reason is that they picked the wrong curators. So if you make folk music, for example, I feel like many times it tagged together folk with singer-songwriter, though usually those two playlists are different. I have a singer-songwriter playlist, and folk can be very chill, and it can be very energetic. And that's really important to know also the vibe of your music and not be like, I make folk, so I can fit on all of the folks playlists, and I will put singer-songwriter together with folk. And that will just cause a problem. So knowing exactly that, I don't know, you make indie folk, for example, and that's your genre, go with those playlists. That will really help you increase your approval rate.
Big time. Getting your genre right, definitely, I would agree with you, the most important first step.
Here is something I think a lot of artists misunderstand. A lot of artists think that playlists are just about getting streams. What's the real reason musicians need to be on playlists? What should they actually be optimizing for?
I thought it was streams.
Just streams?
No, so
It has to be more than streams.
at this point in time, in the year 2026, I recommend a two-pronged approach to your Spotify campaigns. The first is playlisting, the second are meta ads. Playlists are a good way to pick up a lot of streams very quickly in a targeted genre niche. So what this means is Spotify has a limit of 1,000 streams that you have to reach within the first 28 days to have your song monetized. Playlists can get you to that quite quickly, and if you get them into the right playlists that have similar genres, so for example, if you make rock music, get into a rock playlist. If you make rap music, get into a rap playlist. What you do is you teach Spotify's algorithm to associate your song with the other songs in that playlist. So there's a little bit of a learning experience going on. So these playlists help align your music with similar artists, and they help you get those quick streams. But playlists are not great for engagement. They're not great for participation. They're not great for making fans. And some of those signals actually might not be great for Spotify. And this is where meta ads come in. They're a lot more expensive. So with a 50 credit campaign targeting 20 playlisters where you get a 30% approval rate, and now you've got 6 or 7 of them who've shared it, that's going to, I don't know, the cost per stream is pretty cheap. It's cheap, it's pennies. On a meta ad, you are going to pay between 50 cents, sometimes $1 per stream. It's a lot more expensive. You can definitely get it lower, but for the average individual track, 50 cents is not a bad number. And what you're trying to do with these meta ads is you're targeting people on Facebook and Instagram very specifically based on interests that align with your musical style. And when they come through and listen to your song specifically on Spotify, there's a much higher rate of saving that song. So Spotify calls this the save rate. But what that means is that for every 10 people who come and land on your song, if 4 of them decide that they're going to save it because they like it, that's a 40% save rate, 4 out of 10. That's a really strong signal to Spotify's algorithm. And so what this does is it helps cancel out your playlisting lack of engagement. So, getting 1,000 streams through a meta ad is quite difficult. It's going to cost you $500 maybe, especially if you're a new artist and your songs are mediocre. And almost everyone is mediocre. It's fine. It's fine to be mediocre as long as you're having fun. But you're going to spend $500, and that's quite expensive. So what is playlisting good for? It is good for those streams, that first 1,000, but it's also good for teaching Spotify's algorithm where your music belongs. The reason you want to send these signals to Spotify for the algorithm is so that Spotify starts to play you in recommended playlists. Like, hey, if you like Tame Impala, check these guys out. So that's the radio plays, the algorithmic plays, and you're trying to trigger this algorithm. That 2% save rate by itself, just from playlisting, is not a strong signal to Spotify. But if you can balance that 2% with the 40% from ads, so let's say you get 1,000 streams and 5 conversions from your playlist, that's 0.5%. That's bad. But now add in another 45 conversions from the meta ad. Suddenly you're at 50 out of 1,000 on Spotify's thing. So now you're at 5%. So it just makes it a lot better. And that then sends the signal to Spotify that, okay, whoa, people are engaging with this and they do like it and it's in playlists. And so you're trying to boost it. And you can go on Reddit and you'll see people writing these posts about the strategies that they've used. There was a really good one that came up about 2 weeks ago of a guy who had done this on SubmitHub. He did playlisting and meta ads, and he put $140 into meta ads, it's a chunk of money. So he put $140 into that. He put $50 into playlisting. He got his 1,000 streams through that. He picked up another 200 streams through the ad. But what happened was that on top of that, over the next couple of weeks, he picked up another 7,000 or 8,000 streams in algorithmic uplift because he had sent these strong signals to Spotify. And this won't necessarily work on the first song you release. But when you do this with your first song, you're now, like, Spotify doesn't forget. So when you release your next single, they've already got a kind of idea of where you belong and how it goes. And this time things happen a little quicker. So it is that building of momentum. You're like starting with a tiny snowball and going and going and going. And that can build up over time. But the ads plus playlist strategy, if you're trying to do Spotify, that's the way to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love this word momentum because that's super important. And yeah, playlists will give you the streams and they just build the momentum. They will help you teach the algorithm what you do. And every time you release a new song, you will get your music on more algorithmic playlists and it will just get easier. So start by running ads, even on a low budget, with some playlists, and then release more music. Obviously, having 3, 4, 5 songs, that will not make you blow up. You do need, if you have 20 songs, for example, then that will definitely build more momentum. And after 20 songs, that's when you will get on editorial playlists. That when you will have a lot of social proof that will help you get on bigger playlists, get more recognition on social media with those numbers. And that's how it builds. So
I don't know this for a fact. But I would imagine that the editorial team, when they're looking at songs and they look at your history, they're just going to look at the high-level stats: streams, save rate, number of playlists. They're not going to dive into it and be like, well, hold on, like 90% of those streams came from a playlist that didn't actually give many saves, and then a bunch of them seem to have come from Facebook ads, and those, like, they're not doing that. They're just looking at the high level, like 1,000 streams, 50 saves. Yeah, it's an above-average ratio. People must like this music. Let's try see how it does in the editorial stuff. So it's that slow and steady build up, but that, like, the foundation is ads and playlists. And I mean, this is like we've been doing a lot of interviews with artists, labels, and publicists lately to get a feel for how they are promoting and what's working for them. Ads and playlists are the answer for most of them. And of course, social media, but that's a different game. That's not about Spotify.
Yeah, that's just the bottom of the funnel. Social media is where people go after they discovered you through playlists and ads. So yeah, definitely playlists and ads, my favorite strategy, and that's what I usually teach musicians, not just to rely on SubmitHub. Let's talk about AI. You launched an AI song checker recently. What made you build that tool, and how are you seeing AI-generated music impact the submission landscape on SubmitHub?
Okay, so the reason I built the tool, it was Christmas of last year. Things were quiet. I didn't have much to do, and I thought, I wonder if I can do this.
Really?
There you go. So, and that began a year-long journey of that kind of thing. So I built the AI checker initially because I just thought it would be cool to see if I can programmatically detect whether a song is AI or not. The real benefit of it, though, and what I had in the back of my mind, was that more and more people were discussing AI, and many curators were expressing a desire to not have AI music show up in their feed. And so I wanted a way to try and filter that. Obviously, what you can do is just ask musicians, did you use AI when you created your song? What I can tell you...
And they will say no.
Based on data, is that 60% of them, roughly, will lie about it. So what I need then is a secondary detector that can, behind the scenes, verify whether that's true or not. And this is not to punish the artist. This is not to punish the prompter. What's the right term? It's not to punish the person who's put their passion and their lyrics and their thoughts and their life experiences into Suno. Because what I want to make sure is that they are not sending their song to someone who will reject it because it is AI. I want to make sure that their song gets sent to someone who is going to be receptive to it and share it. So the reason I developed the AI detector was to help curators who didn't want AI filter out, and to help artists who make AI music to make sure that they targeted the right curators. So I'm trying to, again, balance both sides of the equation here. I'm not trying to pick a side in terms of what's right and wrong. I don't feel like it's my place to decide that. There are tons of people consuming and enjoying AI music. My 85-year-old uncle sent me a beautiful song the other day that he's in love with. And I didn't have the heart to tell him that it was like a plain Suno track. So it's not my place. It's not my place. And so the detector is about decision making. It's scaled up. It's gotten a lot better. I can handle many different platforms, all the latest versions of them as well. And now we have an API that a lot of distributors and music tech companies are using as well to filter theirs. So we're doing, gosh, I actually don't know how many songs we're processing per day. Probably close to 100,000 songs are being processed through the AI checker daily.
Wait, 100,000 songs are being automatically checked by the...
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the amount of songs that are being uploaded to Spotify every day?
No. They've got way more than that. The last time, to my knowledge, that they reported numbers around streaming, and I haven't dug deep into this, but about 4 years ago, they said they were getting 120,000 songs a day. So that was before the AI explosion. They were at 120,000 a day. I could only imagine how big it is now, but I'm going to assume it's in the 500,000 to a million per day range. When I say we're going through 100,000 songs per day, they're not necessarily unique. I've got a lot of different companies scanning songs. So there's probably some overlap. There's probably some back catalog. There's all sorts of stuff. But we are scanning close to 100,000 songs per day through the AI checker. I've got one little like GPU machine over there just having a heart attack, being like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Just trying to process all of that. So
right.
It's working. It's not perfect. People can trick it. There's businesses now built around tricking SubmitHub's AI detector. And all you really have to do is, should I say it? The main way that people attempt to trick AI detection systems is to remove all the higher frequency levels, because that's where a lot of the artifacts get left.
Right.
So if you compress your song and get rid of the highs and lows, suddenly you can get past the AI detector. So I've had to do a lot of work on that, actually training the AI detector on compressed songs. That was actually one thing I learned very early on, was that any sort of compression, like a YouTube version of a song, would fail to be detected because it had been compressed so much. And yeah.
In other words, as the head of SubmitHub, you would say that your approach towards AI is more neutral. Like people can just, if they want to submit an AI song, they can do it. If a curator wants to approve an AI song, they can do it. You don't take a side, say it's right, it's wrong, whatever. Just you let anyone do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be like me saying you can't take rap music on SubmitHub. Like, it's not my place. Just give people the preferences that they want, and everyone will have a better experience.
I mean, as of early 2026, I guess we don't know yet where the industry is going. So let's say in 5 years' time, how SubmitHub will change and what will be the approach towards AI then. Before we wrap up, I want to ask about the future. What's next for SubmitHub in 2026? Any big features or changes you're working on that artists should know about?
I'm thinking of changing the website's color from purple to pink. No.
That's a huge change.
No. I mean, yeah, we don't even have a logo. We just have purple.
That's true.
I think for 2026, we will continue to focus on meta ads and playlisting. Blogs aren't dead yet, so we still want that to be part of it as well. Blogs are good for AI ingestion. So if you get on a music blog, ChatGPT will scan that. I think one of the things I want to focus on for the next few months is making the process of submitting music and choosing curators a lot easier for artists. Right now, it's a little bit of an overwhelming process that they have to go through. It always has been. To upload a song takes 3 steps. To begin a campaign takes 4 steps. It's 7 steps until you actually get to the page where you choose the curators. And even once you've chosen them, you've got even more steps after that. So there's a lot of steps along the way that are a bit of a barrier to entry for people. And over the next couple months, this is going to be one of my focuses. So cleaning things up, and then allowing users who don't want to do any work at all to have us do it for them. So we'll be rolling out packages basically where you you pre-purchase this playlist meta ads combination I'm speaking about. There's the hearts again. And with that package, we'll take care of things for you. So we'll make sure that the genres are right. We'll make sure that we're choosing the right curators for you, and we'll set up your ads for you. All you have to do is give us a link to your Spotify song. So it ultimately can be that easy. And I think for many artists, that's an attractive pitch. There are, of course, those who still want that granularity and ability to go through and check the right people. Not going to get rid of that, but I think giving people other opportunities and making the usage of the site a lot easier is something I want to do. And I can leverage the tools that I've got, like the genre detector and our awesome support team, to actually make sure that we're setting up all of these songs, doing it right, and giving people something that delivers promotion for them, which is ultimately what people are paying for when they come to SubmitHub. Yeah, it's a tough thing, as I mentioned at the beginning, to balance curator interest with artist interest, right? Curators want more submissions. They need more money. They have to pay for these ads and keep it going. So many artists now are turning to meta ads instead, because meta ads don't tell you that your song is not good enough. And so it's finding that balance between the two, recognizing that things are shifting, but still trying to help those curators who have become reliant on this as a source of income, and make sure that they still get that income and they still have a way to promote and share the music that they love. So yeah, that's kind of 2026. Hopefully I don't burn myself out, but this is like first proper week back at work. So let's see.
Cool. The fact that you've been doing all of this for the past 10 years as a single developer is just super impressive. And honestly, as a user on the platform, as a curator and as a musician, I've seen the platform grows so much. Every year, every month, basically, there are new things. So thank you so much for everything you do for artists. And I guess everyone can really tell that you care about people, and the fact that you just listen to them and read dozens of messages from all of us, the curators and the musicians, every day, try to solve their problems. Really, thank you for everything you do, and thank you for joining me today and for your great answers and insights. I hope we cross paths again, and I will definitely stay on the platform for many years, as long as it stays, because it's definitely the number one music submission platform.
For now. One day someone will overtake me, and that's fine. One day I will decide I'm done. Cool. Thanks for having me. And then yeah, in a couple months we can chat again if you want, and we'll see where things are going. I'm sure I'll have a bunch of new features by then.
Amazing. Yeah. And if anyone wants to join SubmitHub, submit to any of the other curators or from me, there is a link in the description, and you can get my coupon, which is 10% off. So you can go there and get some credits and get your music on playlists. So because listeners don't see the screens, but I just you got a bunch of fireworks around you. I've never seen this happening.
Yeah. I guess all these features that I can do.
I've never seen it. Super cool. All right. Thank you, Jason, and have a great evening.
Thanks, you too. Toodles.
Ciao, ciao.